Hey everybody, this is Chief here. This is another episode of Coffee and Crypto, and today we have an awesome guest that we're going to be talking to, and we'll also be covering a little bit of the past week in crypto and blockchain, just to give you some insights. We try to give you quick 5-10 minute of insights, and then give a lot of community questions and insights for our guest today, which is Koad. And he's the lead developer of Canada Ecoin, and he'll be joining us within 5 to 10 minutes. And what they've been doing is something pretty spectacular, and he's going to share. And we have a lot of community questions that came in for him specifically, so we're excited to share that with him. And but yeah, we'll dive right on in. And one of the things that was recent when doing this past week's recap was actually today, Tron's founder. He came out with a $20 million airdrop, and sometimes we usually won't cover stuff like this just because we really want to give you good insights. But most people maybe not be aware of this giveaway, and it's completely free. He's giving $20 million of free airdrop and a Tesla to anybody right now. He just posted it on Twitter, so if you go and check it out on his Twitter, you'll notice it. Whether or not you might like Tron's vision or their technology behind it. It is a nice little giveaway, and it's something that's promoting a lot of the crypto space to the general public, which is really good. It's got a lot of awareness from different people outside the space talking about it, and that's what we need. We need people that are influential, that are going to influence other parts of the world and society, not just in crypto. We need to bring adoption and awareness to as many as possible, and it looks like Tron's leader right now is doing that in the form right now of $20 million giveaway, and also a free Tesla. And some people are saying he's trying to bait Elon Musk into getting involved in crypto by using a Tesla, but I guess we'll see with that. But that's just one thing that just came about like just today, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick recap on that. And another nice, interesting thing was, some of our listeners might be from the Steam universe, where there's a lot of different publications and different dApps using the Steam blockchain that are good for publishing. And one of those could be used right now by the New York Times. New York Times just came out this past week for a job posting for the lead on a blockchain exploration project. And if they got the right person, they obviously could see what people have done on Steam, whether it be running books or I know a couple of them had some book dApps that were paying publishers. So there's definitely a lot of case studies that New York Times could use the blockchain for. But it's very interesting that after posting this, a couple articles came out talking about it, and then the New York Times actually pulled the job offer as of right now. So maybe that they don't want anybody knowing about that they're going to start this project, or something happened. But they initially are subscription-based service revenue model when others weren't. So staying on the cusp of the trends right now, getting involved with a blockchain and cryptocurrency project would definitely be good for their bottom line. But I guess we'll see if they follow through here in the next few months. But that's definitely something interesting. New York Times looking at the blockchain right now. And another thing that really was cool this past week, some of you noticed there's been some price scores, but BNB, the Binance coin, there's been a lot of talk about them because they've been in the top 10. They're moving up the top 10 ranks. They're up to number 7 right now, with a volume over 149 million, a price of 15.16. They're moving up, and as so, their founder, Binance chief Changpeng Zhao, is growing in influence. And he's another one of these individuals that can become influential, become a brand leader, and try to bridge gaps and also kind of bring more awareness to the blockchain for other people, other parts of the world. But he's actually looking to try to work with Elon Musk. So there's been a lot of rumors of him and Elon Musk meeting, which would be huge. Obviously, Binance is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, decentralized exchange, and having meetings with him and Elon Musk, that's something that is really good, and only good can come from it. But that he's been tweeting about that recently, and he's willing to invest some of his Binance coin into a joint venture or joint project. So that's something that I would definitely take. If you're an investor in Binance coin or thinking about it, I would definitely take that into consideration as maybe just another data point. It wouldn't cause me to buy or sell it, but it's just another take into consideration as another data point when you're evaluating whether you want to invest in the Binance coin or not. But that's just a quick recap because we really want to get into talking to Koad today. We really want to get his insights. We had a lot of community feedback, so we want to dive right in. So hopefully he's here. Koad, are you here?
Yes, sir. I am.
How's it going, Koad?
It's pretty good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and can you let everybody know it's what you do and the project that you work on? Because we might have some familiar with you, our listeners, but it'd be nice to see what other listeners, new listeners, some information about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm the lead developer of a project called Canada Ecoin, which is a Canadian-based altcoin, and we focus basically on things crypto inside Canada. We did a community takeover a couple years ago, and the community's been growing nicely ever since. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say. I'm a little bit nervous here. Apologize.
Hey, no worries. That's I just wanted a quick minute or two, but that's perfect. Yeah, usually I try to ask a lot of the questions, but so we have some community questions that come in, and we got about 10 community questions that came in, so that's really nice that we have some feedback about you. So one of them was what it really inspired you to create the Canada Ecoin, and because it's been a few years in the works, I'm sure, and so what kind of inspired you to create the coin?
Well, Canada Ecoin right now is turning 5 years old at the end of March. I didn't personally create it. I got into Canada Ecoin a few months after it launched, and I liked it for a few reasons. One of them being it's a merge mineable coin, so it uses Oxpow, so you can essentially have a bunch of mining power and use it on multiple chains. And I thought that would be very handy in the future. And of course, because I'm Canadian, I sort of gravitated to the coin itself. I mean, I was doing all this research on all the different projects at the time, like we're talking 2014. And when I seen Canada Ecoin, it was just a coin for me. I mean, 30-second block times, merge mineable, and I was Canadian. So I got involved. The original developers actually, just about the time I got in, they took off. So there was kind of like this community going on with nobody really doing the website, the Explorer, the Seeders, whatever. They were all sort of falling away. So the domain names expired, and I bought them up, and we kind of rebooted it into a community coin. So, but again, the big thing for me was the Oxpow, which gives us some abilities. And again, I'm looking down in the future, and I'm looking at a world of blockchains and how can these work together. So for me, Canada Ecoin was definitely on the right start. And like everybody was saying, well, why don't you can join a team? So that's what I did, and then it's more colorful, I guess you could say. And of course, it's got more abilities than IRC does as well.
And, that's incredible. And I guess for some of the people that might not understand fully what you meant by block mergeable and also Oxpow, can you explain that so more people will understand the benefits of it?
Sure. So I guess everybody's probably familiar with proof of work. People say it's a big waste of energy in this. Oxpow helps out with that because what it does is, as a miner, I can point my miner to a pool that has Oxpow chains on them, and for example, Litecoin. I can mine Litecoin, and I can put my power towards Litecoin. But using Oxpow, I can actually use that exact same power to mine sort of lesser difficulty coins, of course, compatible coins. So, for example, we have our coin on Litecoin pools. They don't say it anywhere on their website, but they give us a bunch of power because as people are mining Litecoin, they're also solving blocks on these merge on the merge mineable blockchains, and that gives them extra dollars to feed. So they're actually paying out over 100% of the payout, and the reason they can do that is because they're sharing. It's actually not sharing. It's if you had 1 gigahash and you were mining Litecoin solo, and you have 1 gigahash and you're mining Litecoin merge mining, you're still putting the same exact power towards Litecoin, but you're also mining a set of other chains at the same time. So you can literally mine, many chains at once, which to me is, eco-friendly. Why would you point all your power to one thing when you can point it to several? So,
Wow.
yeah, and I mean, technically speaking, when you mine a Canada Ecoin block as you're merge mining with Litecoin, there is some Litecoin stuff that goes into our chain, but the wallet sort of ignores that. So there's a little bit of bloat there that goes into our chain because of it, but I mean, it's better to share your power. I mean, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, but I think what you said about it's sharing your power and mining more than one coin at once, and I think that's, if you notice, a lot of people are complaining the break-even point is people are losing money on mining because electricity costs are going up and the price of coins are going down. So being able to mine more than one coin would be a great benefit to some people looking to mine, get more benefits out of mining and to keep mining, especially when prices are lower,
Well, not only that, like, if you were super high-tech and you had your own private blockchains, you could take the power that it would take to keep those alive, and you could actually mine Litecoin with the same power and actually get paid to run your own. You're not just wasting the hash power on your own private things that need a block every 3 days. It's not a big deal. So it's kind of like you could take all your power and sort of multiplex it on top of all these other chains and get paid on all of them, plus run all your private stuff. I mean, I'm looking at it too from a corporate stand. If I want to have a customer and run their chain for them, I don't necessarily want to have to buy a miner to run that chain.
No.
I want to be able to add that in to the whole group, right? And of course, going down the road into side chains, if you have a main mainnet and then you have 5 or 8 side chains running off of that, it's better if you can mine all that at once with one miner instead of having to sort of delegate, power to each thing separately.
Yeah, that's a lot of benefits, and that really does you're positioning the project and very nicely in the future, because I think people are going to have to do that, whether it be price related or just time related. They're going to have to do more than one coin, and this is a great way to do that. Do more people know that about the project? Is that one of those benefits that you highlight like on your website? Your website's very well done, but that's something that potential people investing know about your project.
Well, we do say it on the site, but a lot of people don't really know what that means. It's kind of an advanced part of Canada Ecoin. It's not usually something that most people are looking for. Like Dogecoin switched shortly after we launched. They forked into an OxPow because they obviously seen the benefit of it.
Yeah.
But the average user, they don't really. It's like we get a lot of questions like, "Can we mine? How do I mine Canada Ecoin?" And I always say it's not really worth it, because if you go to our Explorer, we have the hash power up the wazoo. So if you wanted to say put a GPU and mine Canada Ecoin with it, you really won't get a reward for months.
Yeah.
But if you take that same GPU and put it towards not just a merge pool, but a profit switching pool that can pay out in Canada Ecoin, that's usually what I recommend for people.
Oh.
Like pro hashing, you could set up your rigs to point there, and pro hashing will mine all kinds of different stuff with your power. It sort of divides your power up. It's not as efficient as merge mining, but they can pay out in any coin, including Canada Ecoin, right? So Zpool.ca has a merge pool for merge mining. So I think they have around 6 coins in that pool. So if you're mining within that pool, you're actually mining all those chains at one time with the same amount of power, which is pretty nice. Again, we gotta look to the future a bit and see, like, I see a world where everything becomes a blockchain. Like every database you've ever had, it might as well be a blockchain, right? Maybe not every database, but most databases. And then if you have all these chains, like how do you manage the power of all that, right? Like you can't. At this point, it's unfathomable, really. Like you got all these chains already. If you go to CoinMarketCap, there's 1,700 whatever chains. That's a lot of juice, right?
Yeah, and I think luckily, I mean, maybe luckily for us, we don't have as big an adoption as I guess the future will hold. But because right now the power thing is coming up, but there's going to be a huge problem that needs to be solved when it goes mainstream. So I think any business or project that's positioning to help that is definitely positioned greatly.
Yeah, I agree with you.
One of them, it kind of, since not, someone asked, what are some details about maybe some secret projects or something about CDN?
Me personally, it's one thing to have all these coins and all these, not just crypto, but all the private keys in your life. And it's another thing to have them organized. So that's one of the projects we're working on. It really helps you organize your private keys and the metadata that goes along with that. And that's more of it at a user standpoint. But some of our long-term goals actually, I'm not sure how much I should say on the radio here, but there's a project going on right now that's sort of in its roots in Canada called The Myth is Canada, and it has a bunch of information that really could rock the world. Mostly Canada right now, but if we play our cards right, the results will be worldwide. And at the root of The Myth is Canada is basically saying that the Queen let Canada go back in the early 1900s and confirmed it in 1931, and Canada has supposed to create its own de jure government, but it just hasn't yet. So we're working with sort of this old government that really shouldn't even be in power anymore. They've been told to back off and let each province of Canada become a country of its own and create its own de jure governments and seat their own governments. And then if we choose to after that, we could federate into a new Canada. But again, none of this has happened yet. So now with the internet and all this new data, or rather old data coming into the people, I guess, like these ideas are sort of coming out more and they're not going away. So there's a movement going on right now with the Myth is Canada that really is in alignment with what we're trying to accomplish as Canada Ecoin. We see big problems going on, not just with our government, but with our structure itself. And we just want to help people navigate through that and help them protect themselves. And of course, we want to help people sort of honor the rights that they have, right? Instead of just sort of handing them over. So the next few years, it's just going to be insane. From what I can see, I mean, I might be wrong 100%, but I don't think I am. And if things go the way I can see them going, it's going to be a crazy 5 years. And not just in the crypto space, but in this whole sort of digital governance that is possible, especially in the state that Canada's in right now, to have some sort of liquid governance, some sort of digital federation step in and become a government is completely within our reach. And if Canada did that, well, then the world would have an example. And then, once that horse is out of the barn, I don't think you're putting it back. So
yeah.
It's exciting, big time.
Yeah. And I think the fact that governments are using blockchains and voting solutions, and like you said, you're basically helping issue a new part of the world that's going to happen. Everything's more digital, and having a community-based, country-based crypto and blockchain projects such as yourselves, and especially if it's successful, will be a great example. Where do you see that happening within 5 years with Canada Ecoin, or where do you see the project in 5 years? And I think that's what help maybe potential investors, but also community members and other people that want to join the community, kind of where your vision is at. Because obviously we would like to hear about your vision for the next 5 years.
Well, for the next 5 years, regardless of what goes on in the political front, we want to create some tools for people, mainly Canadian people, but we want other countries to fork our work and do it for themselves. With certain things like regulations, it's hard for people. Like, a lot of people don't really know how to pay their taxes. They don't really know how to keep track of the trades, the transactions, the barters, all the stuff that would create a taxable event. It's not really there. So we need tools to be able to keep track of life in a world that has crypto in it, right? So ideally, it'd be nice to be able to go right in your wallet and just print your tax reports. So that's kind of what we're working towards. Another thing is education. People won't use the wallet unless they know why they're going to use it. So our main focus for us is giving people the content they need to feel safe, if that makes sense. And more so Canadian, right? Like, whatever we do in Canada, you sort of have the same regulations in the States. You have the same worries, right? The same problems. It's just the solutions are going to be different, right? Like, you have Canadian forms for this, you have Canadian rules for that. So if we can put together, like, one thing we're really working on right now is a workbook. Started as a workbook. I think it's going to come out as a frequently asked questions on our site. We don't really want you to pay for the words for the info. We want you to have it freely. That just goes hand in hand with the space we're in. But there's a lot of information out there that only really applies to Canadians, and we're going to try to get that out into the world. Also, I guess for the 5-year outlook, we're looking at lobbying. Like, we need to be able to find the people who are sitting pretty to help us. You know what I mean? There's certain people in our government that make decisions. We want them to not be afraid of crypto. So when they go to make those decisions, it's a good decision, right? So we're creating a list of everybody who we should be approaching, and then, hopefully with some money behind us, we'll be able to approach those people and make sure that they understand. Because a lot of people they'll just sort of say no because they don't understand it. They say, "Oh, crypto, what's that? I don't like it," and they don't even know what it is. And in fact, we go to stores all the time where we say to them, "Will you accept Bitcoin or whatever?" And a lot of times people just shut it out because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of the unknown. So again, education is a big part of all that.
So with the education, do you have seminars, or do you give events, Canada Ecoin events, where you kind of help out the public with that education? Because I'm sure people will be curious to hear if you have any upcoming Canada Ecoin events, whether it be open to the public or not.
Well, in the past, I've gone and done talks with user groups here and there, but we're trying to really stretch ourselves and get a better platform for that. Because for me to go and talk to 5 people, it's great for those 5 people, but it doesn't really help the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. So recently we brought on a few people into our team where they know marketing a bit better. I'm not a marketer. I'm sort of an introvert coder. I'm not that type of guy usually, but these people, they've really been stepping up to the plate, and so we're putting the content out on our site, which is where it belongs. And then, of course, we do have events. We actually have our Canada Ecoin's 5th birthday coming up. We're holding it in Quebec this year.
Oh.
And it should be a great time. Every year, I'd like to have the birthday in different places across Canada. Last year we did it in Ontario. I'm not sure where next year's going to be, but it's always a blast.
That's awesome. Is that open to the public?
Yeah, absolutely it is. The details that you can find on our site or Bitcoin Talk in our thread, where it's at. There's a place in Quebec called the Coin Cafe. It's sort of a husband-wife situation, and they've been supportive of not just Canada Ecoin, but a bunch of cryptocurrencies. And we're going to have a bit of a hackathon. We're going to have some birthday cake, and we're also going to have a town hall for our Canada Ecoin Foundation that we're getting on creating. And this is for the Canada Ecoin Foundation. It's actually the Canada Ecoin Community Foundation. We're trying to become a non-profit, like a charity, so we can give donation receipts and this sort of thing. But that's been a slow go because we have to get approved from the government. They don't usually like just to hand that out, so that is coming. We have no idea when we're going to get approved. Hopefully soon.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you what the timeline was, but it seems like the red tape is a little bit, you can't really guess up there.
It's been a bit of a pain in the ass as far as red tape goes, but again, we sort of expected that. The approval process could be anywhere from 6 to 9 months.
Wow.
And then, of course, if you don't get approved, then you could try again, but it's another 6 to 9 months. So I would imagine, the sooner the better. If we don't get approved during this first round, then we're just going to start a corporation where we can open accounts with Amazon and the gift card place, and we have a store coming up, so we're going to do gift cards. We're going to do like Amazon wish lists and that sort of thing, just to help actually use Canada Ecoin for some reason. Because right now, you could trade it and hold it, but other than that, it's like many cryptos. We can't really do too much. So yeah, in the short term, we're coming out with a store, so that should at least allow you to buy some stuff at Canadian Tire or Walmart or whatever you want through gift cards.
Well, that's good. That's a good first step, because I really think that that's one thing that crypto is doing, is it's showing that people give value to currency. It's not some stack of metal that gives value to currency. That's why the U.S. dollar is so high in demand and valuable, because everybody uses it, and the people give it value. So the more people that are using your coin, whether it be even through gift cards or just in general, the most likely your price is going to go up as well, because that's the value of the thing. So that's really something that's cool that you're starting off, and that's good for our potential investors to know as well, because you're definitely starting the process and getting people used to the fact that they can use this to spend, whether it be a gift card initially, but eventually you'll be able to use it.
Yeah, we've spent the last few years with our heads in clouds, sort of thinking, what can we do with this crypto? This is amazing. Let's build this, let's build that. And then we sort of fell short on the actual usability of the coin in its current state. So the store is actually becoming a higher priority than most of the projects on deck, because people want to use it for some reason. And it's good. Like, I give out coins all the time, but it'd be good to say, well, you could use it for XYZ. But right now, there's really not much to do with it,
Yeah. What's your timeline for that, for some use cases, and is that built into a bigger technical roadmap that you have for the project?
Well, the store is actually pretty well on deck right now. We're using something called reaction commerce for that.
Oh.
So we're actually having problems with the currency exchange rates. We don't want to have one, so there's a lot of debugging we have to do right now just to make it so you can buy stuff with Canada Ecoin and not necessarily worry about US dollars or Canadian dollars. That stuff's sort of built right into reaction commerce, so it's been causing delays. I was hoping to have the store up already, to be honest with you. It's already late. Yeah,
so I understand that. I think that's the nice thing about the community, is people are they're used to that, not used to that, but they're more aware and they're more understanding of it, because we're building a new, into a new space. So, but do you think, with the success of the store, with the implementation of the store, what's next for your technical roadmap? Because some people were asking if there was one, and then what are some different aspects about it.
So I'm working heavily on side chains. So we have 2 test nets online right now. One's called BeefNet, one's called SpudNet. BeefNet is basically a utility chain for tracking sort of like life, cows, horses, diseases, this sort of thing. And SpudNet's similar, but it's more for vegetation, anything that grows out of the ground. And these are sort of two use cases that we see for the blockchain as a long-term thing. More, it has to do with farming and this sort of thing. So our ideas here are create a couple side chains where you can actually move Canada Ecoins from the main chain into the side chain and then use them for the purpose, whatever the utility is. So we're not bloating up the main chain with data. We're actually spreading off side chains as we need them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Now, in order for that to actually work proper, and by proper I mean we want to withdraw coins from a side chain back to the main chain, we have to do some core upgrades to our code, which we haven't really done since we were created. The side chains are running sort of the latest Bitcoin, but the main chain isn't. So there's no consensus in our main chain. Like there's no consensus handling as far as the code goes. So you can't deposit back into the main chain. So that's one of the things we're working on right now. And we're hoping to have these utility chains up and running, I would say by the end of the year, where we can show people what you can actually do with a blockchain outside of actual like currency. Like we want to show you how you can track your breeds. You could track sort of a family tree, like if you grew chickens, carrots, whatever. So, and again, the seeds that go along with vegetation, like this stuff right now is sort of tightly controlled by a few people in our world, and we want to make sure that there's tools and utilities for the people to do it themselves. So you don't need, say, Monsanto to breed you the best crop. We want to ultimately make a federation out of this digital space we're in. So there's certain things that we really need to bring to life outside of basic transactions.
And is that one of the reasons why is your project open source?
Yeah, absolutely. Canada Ecoin is open source. The project itself, a lot of the stuff I'm working on, there's no real public repo for it. But I do, if somebody wants to contribute or any of that, we actually use Keybase for a lot of the repos at this point.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of it's private. And it's really only private because a lot of it's a mess. It's just proof of concept type stuff. So it's not really like I could share it with you and you can download it, run it, and use it for your own business or whatever. I mean, that'll come, but a lot of this is still being fleshed out,
Well, I understand that it does help to have help, and making it open source, it definitely reiterates your vision and your purpose, like you said, that you want to create tools to help. So making it open source, I'm sure, really helps with that mission. And it seems like, down the road, hopefully it brings in some traction, some people helping. And I know that the GitHub can be pretty helpful with that. But have you, I guess, what's your team look like right now with regards to the help? Because I guess some people might be interested in helping. So what kind of team do you have right now?
We have a couple back-end guys, myself included, that do a lot of the server side. We have one really good sort of front-end developer who does a lot of the interfaces. He's done our website. In fact, he was the original Canada Ecoin. I'm not sure if he was in the group or not, but he's been on deck since day one. And he actually did the original website for Canada Ecoin. I'll just say Nugs. He's the best there is. I mean, as far as graphics and user interface goes. We have a few other guys that are sort of in with us, but they also have their own projects. You know what I mean? In fact, one guy I'd like to sort of shout out, his name is BitSwift, or his company's name BitSwift is Sleepy Smurf. He actually accepts Canada Ecoin on his e-store as well. He's been a great supporter for Canada Ecoin for a while now.
Hey, shout him out.
And he does a lot of IT stuff as well. He's very similar to me in our day jobs. He's obviously in a different location, or he'd be my competition, but very good. There's some very good brains that we have focused here, which is pretty nice. And of course, we have you know, we have some other people. There's community leader or community moderator, you can call him, I guess. Crumbs. He's couldn't live without that guy. To be honest with you, he keeps track of a lot of stuff, especially with our support system. He handles our tickets. He, you know, makes sure nobody's pissing around in our Discord channels. As far as DevOps goes, there's the three of us really that are sort of pushing the vision as we see it right now.
Well, you know, I mean, that's a great insight into the project, because you guys are doing a lot with 3 developers, and I know that sometimes projects will use like bounties and active bounties to help kind of help move the project along. Do you guys have any active bounties right now?
Let me check. We have in our Discord channel, there is an active bounties channel. I know one of the bounties right now is we're having an AMA during our 5th birthday party. And one of the bounties is if you give us a good question on our Reddit thread, the best question, we're giving them 10,000 Canada Ecoins.
Hey.
So that's always good. If you have any questions, say after this show or whatever, that's a good place to throw them, is on that the Reddit. Just looking up some active bounties here. We don't really have a website that controls all this. Again, a lot of it we do is in our Discord channel, to be honest.
And it's, for people unaware, familiar with some crypto projects, it seems a lot of these crypto projects are using Discord to really help build their communities and interact. You know, a lot of people use it for gaming as well, but it's really helpful for community building, and it really helps for to build communities through interaction, different channels, a lot of content. But I really like it. If anybody's interested, I'm sure we'll drop the links for their Discord so you can take a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, Discord for us, like I said, we were in IRC before, but IRC is essentially one channel. And if you aren't there right now, you're basically going to miss what was said. Where Discord, we have 30 some odd channels inside the group, inside the server. And, you know, we ring our coins in there and everything else. We have a tip bot. That's pretty nice if you want to get started with crypto. You don't have any coins, you have no way, you don't know how to get coins. Download Coinami, the wallet, and join us in our Discord channel, and I'll send you coins. I mean, we ring coins on the daily in our Discord channel.
Oh, wow. That's a good way to build a community right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and for somebody starting out in crypto, I would recommend using the Coinami wallet. Canada Ecoin's obviously in there. It has many different coins. And you don't have to download the whole blockchain, which is usually cumbersome for somebody who's just starting out.
That's true. And do you have any gateways open on any of these exchanges, or what are some places you can get CDN right now?
I tell people first off, Blue Trade. They've been with us since day one, so
Blue Trade.
We are available on Blue Trade, and we're available on Trade Satoshi. We're available on Nova Exchange. And of course Cryptopia, but Cryptopia is a little bit crippled right now, so don't go there yet.
They have some internal problems?
Yeah, they got hacked the beginning of January.
Oh, wow.
And they're back online. You can log in now if you have a Cryptopia account, but most of their chains are in maintenance mode. They haven't turned the site back on yet, so I mean, Cryptopia was definitely our most supportive exchange when talking about volume. But again, I'm hoping they come back online full blown, but who knows? I'm not sure even what they lost. It was like $20 million or something like that in the middle of January.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's tough, and it seems like that's happening a lot in the crypto space. But that's one thing that we have to build is that trust. And sometimes, in business, these things do happen. But
that's the thing. And quite honestly, if you're buying your coins on an exchange, I mean, of course they're available, but really, You shouldn't trust any exchange with your coins. You should have them always with you in your own pocket somehow. So these dexes that are coming out are really sort of the next phase of where to get your crypto, because you're sort of dealing over the table, but you're not over the table.
Yeah, that's what I've been noticing with the Easy Dex that Walrus created a little bit ago. It seems like it's real. The Dex it's really easy to use, but he's creating this different coins that'll have gateways, and that's helps out get some more traction. You know, because sometimes you need to have those gateways to get some coins onto the network and also bring more awareness to it. So I don't know if you thought of that maybe adding a gateway in the future is a way to bring more awareness to your coin. But have you thought about joining other exchanges as well, and maybe other gateways here in the future?
Yeah, so the one sort of big one in the sky is Bittrex, right? Like everybody wants to get onto Bittrex. Now Bittrex sort of requires you to have a verified account that's sort of a corporate holding, which of course with a community coin we don't really have that sort of thing. Like we're just literally a bunch of people. There's no real organization to sort of register on Bittrex and say, you know, I hold 10% or whatever it is. So that's another reason we're creating the foundation, is so we have the ability to get on to say Bittrex and Binance and fulfill their requirements, right? Because they always want somebody who's in charge. So that's coming down the line pretty close. Like the first things we're going to do when we get that foundation is apply to a bunch of these exchanges that really require like an overseer on the project, and we're hoping that the foundation can be that overseer.
Yeah, it seems like a win-win right there, because you want to communities. The strength, one of the strengths of this project. So you need to keep that community aspect, especially with deals related to regulatory issues. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because we don't want to get in trouble. You know.
Yeah. Wow. The community had some pretty good questions for you, didn't they?
Yeah, I like
that. I guess one thing that I was curious with more, because I've noticed that if the more places you can use, the better for awareness, and also people get that. You know, it seems like mainstream doesn't care until they can use it at grocery stores, or they can use it at different merchants they want.
Right.
Down the line, is that part of your plan? Maybe using it at merchants, or is it basically you just want to stay digital online, or what's the big picture vision down the road for regards to that? Because I know that potential investors would definitely love to hear that, but I know community members would like to hear it as well.
Right. Well, short term, with the gift cards, we're going to allow you to get into buying groceries and this sort of thing. But the ultimate goal would really, for Zayres or whoever the grocery store is, to accept it directly. So a lot of the merchant tools will help with all that. So, and of course, the education. So, you know, if we can deliver a good enough education where people feel comfortable, and we can also deliver a good enough set of tools where you can make it easily happen, you know, like adding it to your checkout process, right, is very important. So right now it's very hard. Like if you want to accept coins in your store, you're going to have a cell phone with you, and it's kind of not going to be running through the till, and your numbers aren't going to add up properly when you go to close the till. And in a grocery store situation, like the owner doesn't actually work there. They've got 9 checkouts. And if you want to pay at a checkout with coin, it has to go through the cash register that is already existing. Now, the big problem there is these cash registers and the payment networks, they haven't really been updated in 30 years, which is good for us because there's a opportunity there for improvement, right? And that's part of what we're working on. Merchant tools that will sit on your desk for you and accept that coin and integrate directly with what you're already using. That stuff is still a little bit further down the road. Like, for example, if you want to convert right now, you could do it, but you're literally getting rid of that cash register and bringing in a whole new system, something that's a little more up to date, a little more digital.
Retailers, and that's what I'm thinking. would think it'd be great to have maybe a sales force that would help you sell this to different organizations. But I know the one company that's really helping crypto with the point of sale is PalmPay, PALM Pay. So that you can do like Bitcoin Cash, BitUSD, BitEuro, BitRuble, and almost any like BitShares coins, Litecoin as well, and Steam. But I know that they're rapidly expanding the coins that they do handle. So maybe that's something to look into. But I know that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all these gateway providers, these service providers like BitPay and PalmPay, and I mean, there's a slew of them at this point. We're sort of looking at all of them. Like we want to. We're not necessarily looking to develop the world. We would rather you develop it, and then we'll implement it for you in the country. Right, and then of course you could be responsible for the updates. So our project is more than just sort of Canada Ecoin. It's looking at all of these things and sort of helping people plug them in where they belong. Right. I mean, it's part of a group effort. We're even though we're on different projects here and there, we're all basically on the same team. We sort of have to do all this together. Not one company or group is going to reinvent the wheel. But together we can totally make a huge impact.
And I think that's speaking. I think it's speaking to a lot of crypto projects that they want to make an impact. They want to make a difference. And one of the places that I think that's really a great place to reach people who are trying to do the same thing is colleges and universities. Have you guys thought about, or have you guys reached out to maybe any colleges or universities, or have any events on site to maybe kind of grow the awareness for Canada Ecoin among this influential demographic? Not
to the college university directly, but anytime I find somebody who's in college university, I get to them as fast as I can, because the youth is what's going to change the world. The old folks, I mean, God bless them, but they're not going to change. My mom doesn't necessarily care about Canada Ecoin. And she probably won't really ever. I mean, she does because it's me, but as far as crypto goes, she's happy paying her Visa bill. You know what I mean? But I got two daughters, 5 and 11, and they probably won't know what a credit card is. If I have anything to do with it. And the thing is, as the new people come in and the old people go out, that's where the significant change is going to stick. So for me, my target audience is always students. So
have you guys thought about maybe setting up some different events, maybe even speeches at these colleges to kind of help your awareness grow? Because like you said, it's your target market. I think it'd be I think that's one thing a lot of these projects. You guys are really fundamentally sound on the development side, but maybe you have some sales management, sales team, also just a team that reaches out to people and organizations, so you can kind of schedule these meetups. Because I feel like especially being a hometown coin, Canada Ecoin, you really can focus on that and really hit these colleges to kind of grow your user base and hopefully over time kind of bring a lot more value as much as you can to the environment. So. It's just something that I would just like to throw out there.
But no, I think you're right on target. Like I said earlier, we're expanding our team a bit. Some of the guys that are coming on now are marketing more than anything else. And I think definitely that we're going to get into what you're saying more. Like, I don't mind talking. So, if somebody brings to me an engagement, I'll definitely get in and talk. I could talk for a long time. But I haven't really been active on going to find and seek that stuff out. But I think as a team, we're going to be more and more so, because we're bringing in some more people who are sort of focused on marketing and how to get us out more and get the word out more.
Yeah,
so I'm definitely looking forward to more of that in the future.
Yeah, because just from my interaction with you right now, I definitely think people would love to listen, because you explain it in a nice way that people can understand. And the way you speak in your tonality is really great for people listening too. So I think you'd be very ideal for giving speeches, whether it be 30 minutes, 15, or an hour. I think it's something that your team would definitely help your team out. But I can definitely see that happening for you.
I appreciate you saying that. And I'll just reiterate, if anybody out there in the world wants me to come and explain things, I'm completely open to that. I'm a consultant by trade, and is what I love to do, to be honest with you. I like to make people sort of understand, and I get that a lot, actually, that I'm able to get the point across using, understandable,
relatable terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm completely open to that. I want to do that more and more and more, because quite honestly, like I said, the education is key. So if more people understood how the blockchain worked, they'd probably be just as obsessed as I am about it, because it's revolutionary. The things we can do with a shared ledger, the possibilities are endless. And the thing is, using this technology, I don't have to trust you anymore. So that means I can trust you. If I could trust the ledger, then I'm completely open, right? A lot of the times in business and a lot of times in the world, there's this sort of, back room that you can't get into, that, what's in there. The open source community doesn't have any of that. It's open source, you can read it, which means you can trust it. I mean, there's lesson number one right there. If it's not open source, don't trust it. Then that could be your coin, that could be your operating system, that could be your telephone. If you're running software on any of your devices that are not open source, that means you can't trust it. That's lesson one. And that one's a freebie.
Hey, I'm not even charging you for that. But
and it's a big thing to understand. I mean, if you can go to GitHub and read the software that's running on your device, then there's really no breakage of trust right there, right? And the problem is, if you got software running in your house or in your pocket, and you don't know what the source code says, then for all you know, the enemy's with you. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and I think maybe that's well known in certain niches, but definitely the general public might not be aware of that. And I think as time goes, these projects like yourself, crypto-related and blockchain projects like yourself, Canada Ecoin, will definitely help bring more awareness to this, whether it be through use cases or just general knowledge. I think it's definitely going to have some major impact on applications and just general behavior in the next 3 to 5 years, especially down the road in 10 to 20 years. But
I really do hope so. I mean, it's so important, and like you said, the general user probably doesn't know about that, doesn't even know the options available. So the more we can bring awareness to these things, the better off everybody's going to be.
Amen. And that's one of the reasons why I like to do this podcast and show as well, and different events in the community, especially around college and universities, to really try to have as much impact as I can to bring more knowledge, awareness to, and especially insights in specific people who are doing great well, listeners. Did you have any last things you wanted to touch on, or any last insights you wanted to give the community before you wrap it up?
Not off the top of my head. No, I think we've said enough.
Yeah, and I like to give people, we live in a busy time, so between 45 minutes and an hour 15 is kind of where I like to keep it, just because I know everybody wants to get the insights, information, and go on with their day. And so that's kind of what I try to do. And I think you gave a lot of insights and a lot of in a way that people can understand. So I'm personally excited to listen back to this episode as well again. And I'm sure people in the future will definitely get a lot of insight. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Where can people reach you if they want to reach you? And where's the Canada Ecoin community based?
Well, you can find all our information on CanadaEcoin.site. You can find our Reddit, our Discord, our Bitcoin talk link. Join us in our Discord channel. That's where all the action happens. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate your time, and I'm excited to follow your developments with this project. I'm excited, and hopefully we may come out there and see you guys out near Toronto, and See, I'm excited to see what you guys do with this project, and I really think you guys have a lot of things going for you. So I definitely will be taking a look at investing as well, and hope other people do as well, because they're doing great things, and it really is a community-based effort, which is what we need in this world. So I really appreciate your time again, and everybody, this is another episode of Coffee and Crypto. If you have any questions or if you'd like us to cover anything else, please leave the comments below. But we'll be seeing you next week around the same time, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll have a new guest and some new insights from the past week in crypto. Hope you guys have a positive day. Thanks.